In this video, let me start from what are the levels of organization in the body of a living organism. So here, every living organism, so how is the levels of organization, how is the levels of system which is there in the living organism, that we are going to study here. Okay, now we know that a basic unit of organism, which is what, cell here. Okay, now but from the cell, how is the organs are forming and how it is making a one simple organ system here. Okay, now the body of living organism is organized in a complex way. Okay, so we are having numbers of organs in our body, that's why they are saying here complex way. Okay, now cell is the basic unit of life. We know that it is just like a brick is the basic unit of a wall. Okay, a group of similar cells forms a type of a tissue here. So what will happen here, in our body we are having numbers of cell. Okay, right, we are having a numbers of cell here. So what will happen here, similar cells, okay, forms the one system that we will say tissue here. Okay, that's why they're saying here a group of similar cells forms a type of a tissue here. Now tissue is formed. Now what will happen next, different tissues are organized to form the organ. So different tissues come forward and it form the organ here. Like here in the picture, here it is the single cell. Okay, here it has formed the tissue. So a tissue, how it is formed, it is formed by similar group of cell forms the tissue here. Now here is the organ. Okay, so how is organ formed here, so different tissues comes forward and it forms the one here organ here. Now different organ come started working together, it forms the organ system. Okay, now see here, here it is mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. This is all what, these are the what, different organs. And how these organs are formed, these organs are formed different tissue. Now how this different tissue is formed, tissue is formed by a group of a similar cell here. Okay, now like this, that perform a major function of the body here, this organ system. Like this is our digestion system, like that we are having excretory system, we are having respiration system, we are having. For all this system we are having a different organs we are having. Okay, now all the organ system together make a complete organism here. Okay, like a plant or an animal. So the levels of organization are like this, from cell to tissue, tissue to organ, organ to organ system, from the organ system to one organism form here. Okay, now these levels of organization help us to understand how simple building block cells come together to form a complex living being here. See here, this organism are what, very big, but how it is formed, it is just formed from a one single cell here. Okay, now the life of complex living organism, we can take an example of human being also. We are having a complex living organism, begins with the just a single cell here. Not only in human being, you can just take animals, plants. So all organisms life begins from the just single cell, that is egg here. Okay, so the egg of any organism, you can take any organism, has an amazing ability. It has a different kind of ability it is having. So what it will do, the egg, it will start dividing repeatedly to form a complete living being made up of a many cell. So what will happen, this is egg is what, egg is just a single cell. So what it will start, it will start dividing it will forms the many cells. Okay, so such a living beings are said to be multicellular organism. See, our life is just starts from the single cell, that is egg. So this egg, it will start dividing and it will forms the many cells here. That's why such a living beings which are having a many cells, that we will say multicellular organism. If it is having a single cell, that we will say unicellular. If it is more than one, okay, many cells if you are having, that we will say multicellular organisms. Okay, for animals including humans and plants are all the example for the multicellular organism here. Ever heard of the yolk, that is yellow part of the egg here, okay, of an ostrich egg is a single cell and which is the largest known cell in the living world here. So here they are talking about the ostrich bird, and ostrich bird's egg, which is what, single cell, and that is a single cell is what, which is the largest known cell in the living world. Okay, so that is the biggest cell in the world. Okay, so which measures about 130 mm to 170 mm in a diameter, millimeter here. So the egg contains the extra non-cellular material. A shell is that is outer side, which is act as a protection, and white liquid that nourish the cell during its continued development here. So this is what yellow color part, which is a yolk, okay, and this is whatever white which is present now, which will be nourishing the cells. I mean, it will be helping for the development of a baby inside that. Okay, so this is very interesting because ostrich egg is said to be single cell, which is the largest egg, a single cell, okay, largest cell, okay, largest egg cell here we can say. Okay, after this, now what are the microorganisms? As we know that micro is will be very smaller organism, that is nothing but living being here. So some living organisms are made up of just one or a few cells. Okay, until this we have discussed about a multicellular organism. Okay, so in that we'll be having a numbers of cells will be having. Now we are going to talk about either one or just few cells. Okay, they are so small that they can not be seen with the naked eye. Yes, so that only we will say microorganism. Okay, some microorganisms just like a bacteria and amoeba are made up of a just one cell. These living organisms, it is made up of just one cell. So if it is one cell, that we will say unicellular. Uni is nothing but what? One here. So unicellular we will call. Okay, like us how we will call multicellular, no? So like this we will call this as a unicellular if it is made up of only one cell here. Now, apart from this amoeba and bacteria, others like some fungi and algae have many cells, that we will say again multicellular. They are found all around us in water and soil, air, and even inside our body also we will find. Okay, which are fungi and algae. Okay, now but what do their cells looks like? Now the question is how the cells looks like. Okay, are they like the plant and the animal cells we just learned about, or are they different? Okay, just now we have studied about the animal cell and plant cell we have studied. Now is it looks like same or is it looks like a different one? Now to observe the cells of microorganism, again we need to use the microscope only. Why? Because it's very small, very tiny thing here. Okay, so which magnifies their size and makes them visible to us. So with the help of microscope, what will happen? It will maximum its size and it is will be easy for us to see that. Okay, scientists have also created a low cost and foldable paper microscope, or we can say foldscope. Okay, now foldscope may not provide the same level of a detail with the like a high power laboratory microscope anyhow, but we can just see the microorganisms. However, these make a microscopic world accessible to many people, because if you are going with the high powered microscope, it will be very costly. So that's why the scientists just made a like a simple microscope, so that we will say foldable paper microscope, or we can just say foldscope. Okay, so in that you can just see the microorganism but not in the detailed form. Okay, so it's become easy for the many people to see the microorganism here. Okay, now let us now take a closer look at the fascinating world of the microbes here. Microbes is nothing but what? Microorganism here. Okay, activity 2.4, let us observe pond water and stagnant water here. So here stagnant water is nothing but this water will be not flowing here. Okay, it will be staying in one place. That's why it become a water dirty, or it will be having unpleasant smell also here. Okay, so we can just say pond water here also. We have to take a container and collect the pond water or stagnant water in it with the help of your teacher or any elder here. So in the tank, in the container, we have to collect this water now. Now use a dropper and place a drops of a pond water on the microscope or foldscope slide. So from this whatever we have collected the water, no, with the help of dropper we have to take the water drop and we have to place it on the slide. Okay, now on that we have to put a cover slip and observe it under the microscope, or we can say foldscope here. Okay, so what we will observe here, we will observe that is tiny organisms found in the pond or in the stagnant water also here. Okay, now this was about the pond water. Now let's do the activity 2.5. In this we are going to observe in the soil suspension here. So as we have studied, no, a microorganism will be present in everywhere, even in the water, in the air, even in the soil also here. Now here we are doing the experiment on the soil suspension. Okay, now take a beaker and collect some moist soil in the it inform the nearby field or a garden. So we have to collect in the beaker here. Do not touch the soil with your bare hand. So we have to use either gloves or we have to use the spoon here. As shown in the figure, we have to take a moist soil in the beaker like this here. Now what we have to do this, we have to add the water, okay, and then we have to mix very well, okay, with the help of a glass rod here. Now it's become a liquid. So the liquid which may look very dirty and has a very fine particles will be in the soil also, and this we will say soil suspension, okay, which when we'll mix, okay. Now keep it aside for some time. So what will happen, a heavier solids, it will get settle at the down here, okay. Let the mixture settle here. Now use a dropper, and what we have to do, we have to just take the drop of the water from the top layer here, and we have to place it on the slide here like this, okay. Now cover again it with the cover slip, and we have to observe under the microscope here. Now you may again observe the small moving organisms similar to those we saw in the activity 2.4 in the pond water. So these indicates that even soil suspension contains the variety of a tiny creatures. Creature is nothing but tiny organisms here. So that cannot be seen with the unaided eye without any microscope, okay. So the tiny creatures that cannot be seen with the naked eye are called the microorganism here, or we can say microbes also here, okay. So from this we comes to know that tiny things, or we can say microorganisms, it will be present in everywhere, in the soil also, in the pond water also, and even it will be present in the air also. So you can find everywhere. So now activity 2.6 we'll be studying in the next video here, okay. Thank you.